Hi, Mr. Ford here, and welcome to Coding Camp Day 1.3. Content covered in this video includes learning to talk and think in Scratch, as well as running multiple scripts, multiple events on the same sprite. Let's get started. So here we've got a scene and a sprite set up. You can see my sprite is kind of set back. I've made it a bit smaller on my screen, so he kind of looks like he's part of the background. And we're going to start off with the event when green flag is pressed. We're going to just go over to looks, and in looks you'll notice that there are a number of blocks that either say or think. And we're going to be using the say and think blocks that have times attached to them. The reason we're going to have times attached to them is sometimes when you run just the say or think blocks with no times, your sprite will actually skip over some of the things that you want them to say, simply because they say it so fast you don't even see it on the screen. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to use these different say blocks. Now it's important to know that if you have a lot of things to say, just like in a book, you need to provide pauses in between your character speaking. And so instead of me just putting an entire paragraph in one say box, which I could do, I'm going to break it down into a couple of different sentences. Now you can see that my second say block is quite long. So I have to change the time. I'm going to go from 2 seconds to 8 seconds to 6 seconds, right? So now that the time has changed, I can go in, I can add some more. When that second say block comes up, it's going to hang there longer to give the player more time to read. If you leave it at 2 seconds the whole time, you better hope you're a speed reader, because sometimes I can't even read the things that have been typed if no additional time has been added. So we're going to go ahead and fast forward here a little bit and get to the point where we have a full conversation going on the screen. So you'll notice that after one of my think blocks, I've put in the control block wait, and that's because I want a bit of a pause in between my character saying one thing and another. And at the end of my script, I'm going to put in a stop control block and set it to stop this script, not stop all. That stops all scripts that are attached to this particular sprite. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back up to events, and I'm going to pick a new event. In this case, I'm going to pick the when space is clicked event. And what this is going to do is this is going to allow me to create a new script. So I'm still using one sprite, only one character, but I'm going to have multiple controls. When I first start by pressing the green flag, I'll be able to go through this talking, this little speech here. And at the end, when I click the space bar, I'm going to just make my character flip around. So let's quickly code that, and we'll see how it plays out. So you can see we're just zooming around here. I'm running through the script a couple of times to just double check that everything works correctly. I've made a couple of changes to the amount of time and the angles that I want my sprite to rotate at, and here we go. Our sprite talks through the different things. Pauses between each of the long speech bubbles are much greater than the short speech bubbles. We have this pause here between saying something, and then the first script stops. Once the first script stops, I go ahead and click the space bar, and there we are, rotating in place. And that is how you run two scripts on the same sprite. I'm Mr. Ford, and this has been Coding Camp Day 1.3. Content covered in this video included learning to talk and think in Scratch, and how to run multiple scripts on the same sprite in Scratch using the control function stop script and multiple events.